Wake up, rise and shine. It's a brand new day with Mo and News. It's time to have your say. She's got the scoop, the stories, all the latest trends. Mo's got the news, let's hear it. My dear friends, from politics to showbiz, no story's too small. Mo covers it all. She's got the inside call, her voice so smooth, like honey in the summer sun. With Mo on the mic, you know the news is always fun. Mornings with Mo, the best newsy news in the world. With her style so classic and her stories unfurled, from morning till night, she's got us in the know. Turn on your radio, let Mo's newsy news flow.
Hey guys, it is the 27th of August, and this is your Mornings with Mo, recorded since I will be doing my hair today. Holy fazolies. Our first story is rather sad, and I will be honest, I wasn't a big person in WWE, but I know my brother and a lot of people my age kind of really felt that this was kind of their sport, their, you know, kind of weekly tradition. I don't know how long WWE goes on, so I don't know if it's like a Monday and Wednesday thing, but I know that my brother loved it. And WWE legend Sid Vicious is dead at 63, according to his son. Now, I think I vaguely remember this guy. Again, didn't watch a lot of wrestling, tried to once, and I was like, this is a soap opera for dudes. I think I saw, okay, someone will have to tell me in the comments, as Tangent is engaged. There were two elderly women fighting. This might have been late 90s, mid 90s in unitards. I'm not quite sure. One was like Betty. Anywho, so let's get back to the story. Sid Eddy, who performed in professional oh my goodness, English, wrestling under the names Sid Vicious, Sid Justice, and Psycho Sid, has died at 63 years old, according to his family. His son, Gunnar, announced the death of his father in a post on Facebook Monday. Quote, I am deeply saddened to share that my father, Sid Eddy, has passed away after battling cancer for several years. He was a man of strength, kindness, and love, and his presence will be greatly missed. We appreciate your thoughts and prayers as we grieve this loss. Details for a memorial service will be shared soon. Thank you for your support. WWE said in an X post that it was saddened by Sid's passing. Sid had been considered by many professional wrestling fans as the top retired modern era professional wrestler who had not yet been inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Eddie was a world champion in WWF, now WWE, and WCW twice apiece. Also, he was the two-time USWA heavyweight champion. I mean, that is a fierce curly mullet right there. That is a fluffy mullet that would do today's 2024, football players proud. He also wrestled in New Japan and had a brief stint with the ECW in 1999. One of his most iconic moments is when he hit Shawn Michaels with a power bomb to defeat him for the WWF Championship at Survivor Series in 1996. Eddie was also known in the main event of two WrestleManias, falling to Hulk Hogan in WrestleMania 8 and losing the WWF Championship to The Undertaker in WrestleMania 13. I did not know these were even things. But he was also a grandfather and a person. And as much as I like seeing, all of the kind of fanfare that maybe I didn't get into with the WWE, I love seeing him with his grandbabies and that kind of thing, just because maybe that's more what I relate to. just being well, not a grandparent, but a parent, maybe that's more where I can relate. In the early 1990s, in the WCW, Eddie was a member of the fabled Four Horsemen stable alongside Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, and Barry Windham. Without Sid Vicious, I don't think my brother and I would have made it to CWC, professional wrestling legend Booker T wrote on a post on X. His impact on this business is undeniable. He paved the way for so many of us. My deepest condolences to his family during this difficult time. Adam Pearce, the current general manager of WWE Raw, wrote, "Rest well, Sid. I'll forever appreciate the good times. The microchip pitch to David Marquez, making the sheriff's department drive 100 plus miles from Tulsa to Enid with lights and sirens blaring, only to get there when the show was over. Never, never a dull moment. Life is too short. Godspeed." In addition to Gunner, Eddie is survived by his wife of 30 years, Sabrina Page, and their other son, Frank. So rest in peace. Surrounded by family and having led an incredibly full and rich life, I think is, something that most of us can only hope that our ending is quite that good. Unfortunately, for those of us left behind, even if those endings, are after a full and rich life and full of a great, full life, it's still hard to say goodbye. So my thoughts and prayers do go out to his family because it's a hole that doesn't ever go away until you're reunited, depending on what you believe. A billionaire will be blasting off into a 5-day space mission set to become the first private citizen to complete a spacewalk. Remember when billionaires just, built bunkers and possibly had like a Dr. Evil compound, but didn't go into space? Those were weird times, weren't they? We now have millionaires and billionaires that are just going full Dr. Evil, and I'm kind of okay with it. And, to be honest, Jeff Bezos' spaceship does look like a giant dong. So, I mean, Austin Powers, future predictive power I was not aware of. It's one small step for a billionaire. Pilot and philanthropist Jared Isaacman is poised to make history Tuesday morning as he blasts off as the leader of Polaris Dawn space mission. Leaving from Cape Canaveral, Florida, he is part of a four-person crew attempting to go has before them in a SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule. He's also poised to become the very first private citizen to complete a spacewalk. If the space thrusters do their job correctly, Isaacman 47 will ascend 17 miles beyond where any astronaut who did not contribute or continue on to the moon managed. Isaacman previously self-funded a 3-day trip to space in 2021, which was estimated by Florida Today to have cost as much as 200 million. Well, I mean, I guess self-care looks a little different when you're a gajillionaire. I'm over here like excited. I'm going to get my hair done for the first time in 3 years. And he's like, "You've done well, self. How about a gajillion-dollar vacation?" I mean, it must be nice to be a gajillionaire. While he has not given a figure for the current 5-day venture, is believed to have cost even more. Well, yes, logically, it would cost more if you're going for 5 days instead of 3 days. Even being poorish, I totally understand how length of cruises works. Not haven't gone on one, but I totally understand how concepts work. The plan is for him and a three-person crew comprised, sorry, not compromised, unless I'm Mostradamus right now, of Scott Kidd Poteet, a former Air Force pilot, and Isaacman's pal, plus SpaceX engineers Anna Mignon and Sarah Gillis, to reach an altitude of some 870 miles. Though the trip qualifies as space tourism, it's been undertaken in conjunction with Elon Musk and his SpaceX company, who are using it as an opportunity for research. It's different from any other mission of its kind in terms of hours in space, elements of danger, and what will be accomplished. Quote, they'll be going to the Van Allen radiation belt, which protects the Earth from radiation. Douglas Messier, a former editor of Parabolic Arc, which covered space exploration, told the Post, explaining that the area is located with high energy particles from which the craft has been carefully designed to offer protection. He added, they will be measuring exposure to radiation, which will be useful for going to the moon and Mars. Topping it off, on the day 3 of the voyage, according to Messier, Isaac Min will do another space tourism first. He and Gillis will open the catch of the Dragon uh, capsule they are traveling in and be exposed to the outdoor space environment. Although it's been hopped or hyped as a outer space walk, it is in fact what former US astronauts and author of The Ordinary Spaceman: From Boyhood Dreams to Astronaut, Clayton Anderson, characterized to the Post as going to the edge of the capsule. They're not really going to walk, but it's going to be an awesome view. At that point, leaning out of the top of the craft, but still tethered to it, Anderson explained, the spacesuit is your spaceship. You're in an environment without oxygen. The temperature is 250 degrees Fahrenheit if you're in the sunlight, and negative 250 degrees Fahrenheit if the sunlight is blocked from Earth. It's risky. The spacesuit must protect you from all of that. The extravehicular activity spacesuits used on the mission were specially built by SpaceX with new innovations to make it all possible. They have been designed to work in weightless environments as well as in the void of outer space that Isaac Min and Gillis will encounter when they exit the ship. Additionally, Anderson said that the suits are custom fitted to each astronaut and they're more flexible than previous suits. Pointed out, Messier, SpaceX added heads up display panels to the helmet, and astronauts will be able to see readouts of vital statistics and temperature. Plus, there will be a camera. Though some view all of this as proof that billionaires can buy anything, quote, look at my hashtag astronauts, Anderson said when he asked for his opinion about space tourism. This 5-day long jaunt is not exactly a danger free flex of the sort that Michael Strahan and William Shatner oohed and awed over when Jeff Bezos took them up via Blue Origin's New Shepard in 2021 for a 10-minute ride toward total weightlessness. Isaacman and company could encounter rains of rocks in outer space and human debris that, according to the New York Times, may puncture the spacecraft. Then there's all that radiation. Though neither will discuss specifics of the financial chop, Isaacman and Musk, both deeply pocketed billionaires who believe in the value of space exploration, are said to be going Dutch on the Polaris Dawn's out of this world tab. Well, and that's sweet. They decided to split it like good gentlemen. Luckily, the Washington Township, New Jersey resident is rich, having earned his formidable fortune through his payroll processing company, Shift 4. On his 2021 space trip, Isaac Min set a record by being the first space tourist to circle the Earth without having a professional astronaut on board. While out there, he found time to place a pair of NFL wagers as he soared over Las Vegas. In October 2009, the adventurous space enthusiast set a record by circumnavigating the Earth in a light jet. He did it in just under 62 hours, which beat the previously held record by almost a day. For kicks, he zips around on his Russian-made MGI 29 jet, one of a handful that are privately owned in the United States. Beyond all that, with the government moving slowly in terms of space exploration, despite his, hashtag castronauts hashtag, Anderson is glad some of the rich guys are using resources to get rockets and people, amateur billionaires or not, off the ground. Looking at visionaries like Musk and willing collaborators like Isaacman, he said, the important thing is that Elon is making things happen. And he's making them happen at a pace that, leaves NASA going, wow. So there you go. If you would like to go into space, start working that second job. You might need to deliver for DoorDash. I know this is probably old news if you follow Baker, but in case you weren't up, Karen Reed has been named in a wrongful death lawsuit by family of Boston police officer boyfriend. Now, this is going to be in a different court setting than her criminal case. This is a civil case, so the burden of proof to prove that she led to the conditions which could have led to his death is lower. Think of 100% versus 51%. The preponderance of evidence has to show that it was, more likely that she set up the scenario that caused his death. At least how I understand this, run this by a real, actual, real life lawful law lawyer, but that is my understanding of it. But still, check me out because I could be very wrong. The family of Boston police officer uh, filed a wrongful death suit Monday against Karen Reed, the Massachusetts woman whose murder trial in the officer's death ended with a hung jury in July. The civil suit, filed in Plymouth County Superior Court by relatives of John O'Keefe, also accuses two bars of wrongful death, alleging that they served Reed alcohol when she was already intoxicated on the night of January 28th, 2022. We really don't want to go into a list of every single person who was fully intoxicated and drove that night, because I believe the entirety of Canton police would be involved. I mean, let's be real here. The suit accuses Reed, 44, of plowing into O'Keefe, 46, with her Lexus SUV after having had a series of drinks at C.F. McCarthy's and Waterfall Bar and Grill. Reed claimed innocence at her criminal trial, and her defense team alleged that law enforcement officers had framed her. Reed could not be reached for comment Monday. The lawyer in her criminal case did not respond for a request for comment. A person who answered the phone at C.F. McCarthy's on Monday would not comment on the lawsuit, and no one could be reached at the Waterfall Bar and Grill. The suit alleges that Reed left her boyfriend for dead outside the home of former police officer in Canton, South Boston. The suit, which does not specify damages, also accuses Reed and the two bars of negligent infliction of emotional distress. Prosecutors allege that Reed mowed O'Keefe down amid a deteriorating relationship. She was charged with second-degree murder, motor vehicle manslaughter while driving under the influence, and leaving the scene of a collision causing death. On July 1st, after 5 days of deliberations, a judge declared a mistrial when jurors could not reach a unanimous verdict. According to Reed's lawyers, 4 of the jurors have come forward and said the entire panel had reached not guilty charges on second-degree murder and leaving the scene of a collision. The jury remained deadlocked on the remaining manslaughter charge, according to lawyers, citing the evidence or that as evidence. Lawyers asked the judge to dismiss the charges, but she declined. Prosecutors vowed to retry the case. A new trial is scheduled for January 27th. The O'Keefe family lawsuit accuses one of the bars, C.F. McCarthy's, of serving Karen Reed 7 drinks over roughly 1.5 hours on the night of January 28th. Now, I will say that I saw this footage that they're claiming that she had 7 drinks. And maybe it was because I was focused on so much I hate Trooper Proctor, which is very possible that I didn't. But when he kept saying there's another drink, I was trying my best to watch the video and I couldn't see where she was getting those or what was going on. And again, I am not the most knowledgeable on Karen Reed stuff. Look up Broken Baker. He is absolutely good. He has been following this case since, hearing number uno. So he is definitely one. If you have this article, just kind of goes on to rehash a lot of things. I think that this wrongful death lawsuit is maybe an acknowledgement by the family that the second criminal case will go about as badly for the state as the first one. And I get it. Look, you've lost a family member, and I would be hard pressed to tell you guys honestly that I wouldn't want to look for vengeance and maybe place that in, the most obvious or directed place that I could. So I am trying to have grace for the family. I am trying to look at the facts that were presented, and none of this really adds up to what the state alleges happened, in my opinion. And no, I don't like Turtle Boy. I don't watch his shows. I come up with all these ideas on myself, all by my own self. I did. So I promise you that I am not spouting talking points, regurgitated to me by evil turtle person or benevolent turtle person, depending on which side of this redonkulous argument we have gotten on. But these are what I have taken as being a logical and observant person just watching this case. And oh dear Lord, did I not think that this was the case that was going to turn into complete and full utter dumpster fire. For some reason, I thought the Rittenhouse case was going to be that one, but I was wrong. This is, in fact, the case that people have lost their daggone minds about. So if you want to wade into the Karen Reed thing, I say good luck, Godspeed, and maybe take a helmet or some popcorn to watch the shenanigans. In other news, what the actual Hades is going on in our timeline? A unaliver unalives a mourner at a friend's grave after the victim threatens to puke in the cemetery. I mean, what is this headline? A Colorado man fatally shot his buddy dead inside a cemetery after the victim said he was going to vomit near their deceased friend's grave, reports said. Ryan Trujillo Falcon, 22, fatally shot 20-year-old Gino Eugene Chavez and pistol whipped a woman as they gathered at Crown Hill Cemetery in Wheat Ridge to honor the birthday of their mutual friend, who also died from gun violence. Quote, these people were known to each other and they were together to visit the gravesite of someone that they all knew who had just had a birthday, Jefferson County Sheriff's spokesperson Jackie Kelly told the outlet. Chavez got into an argument with a unnamed woman just before 12 p.m. on Saturday, August 17th, after the cemetery was closed for the night, authorities said. The fight reportedly broke out after Chavez told the group he was starting to feel sick, according to an affidavit obtained by Law and Crime. Trujillo Falcon told Chavez to go to the street. So this is the unfortunate victim of this crime, and this would have been the perpetrator. Now, Trujillo Falcon told Chavez to go to the street if he was going to get sick, but Chavez refused and was going to vomit on the grave next to him, the affidavit said. As the fight escalated, Trujillo Falcon struck a woman on her head with the butt of a gun before using it to shoot Chavez, who later died at the hospital from his injuries, according to police. The woman involved was injured but treated and released from the hospital, officials said. Quote, this is a first for me in my career that we've been dispatched to a cemetery that was in reference to the shooting of a person who ended up dying, Kelly said. The cemetery is a place that comforts people. Oftentimes, it's a place to go visit someone you've lost, but it's typically not a place of violence, so very unusual. Chavez's brother noted in a GoFundMe fundraiser that his life was taken by a person he called a friend. Gino was the definition of a true friend, his brother wrote. He would give you the shirt off of his back, no questions asked, the Post said. Gino was exceedingly talented as an artist with a passion for music. I bet you'll catch Gino hitting up the basketball court and watching football. A recent graduate as well, he definitely was going places. Trujillo Falcon allegedly told police he didn't have a concealed carry permit, but had been carrying a firearm since his late friend, whose grave they were visiting, died by a shooting 2 years ago. Trujillo Falcon was charged with first-degree and murder and second-degree assault, and he's being held on a $1 million bond in Jefferson County Jail. I have no words, you guys. like, what timeline, what level of absolute insanity is the Matrix going through with this? Speaking of absolute insanity and the Matrix, well, let's flash back to those late, 1999s and early aughts because Oasis is returning. It's a bittersweet symphony, but it seems like the brothers, are putting the band back together. Oasis announced a major reunion tour 15 years after Warren Gallagher brothers split. Well, there we go. Just for you guys. The aughts are invading. The early aughts are invading. Today is going to be the day Oasis finally gets back together. After a 15-year split, brothers Noel and Liam Gallagher announced Tuesday that their band Oasis will perform uh, a reunion tour. "This is it. This is happening," said a post on Oasis's social media accounts. The band will play 14 shows in the UK and Ireland next year, according to the announcement, including 4 dates in their native Manchester and 4 at London's Wembley Stadium. "The guns have fallen silent. The stars have aligned. The great wait is over. Come see. It will not be televised," stated a press release, which added, that shows outside Europe will take place next year. A hint in a North American, leg of this could be announced next. So interesting. Oasis was one of the most successful band of the 1990s, selling an estimated that 70 million records and playing to stadiums across the world. Both Gallagher brothers teased the announcement Monday, posting a short video to X showing a flickering 27/08/24. So August 27th, 2024. There's slight different placements in European dates versus American dates. We put the month first. They put the date first, then the month, then the year. Let's see. In the band's famous logo font, Liam Gallagher posted on Sunday morning, "I never did like that word former." And at 8 a.m. UK time, 3 a.m. Eastern time on Tuesday, the news came that legions of fans had been waiting for. A major tour finally reunites the warring siblings. The brothers were responsible for a string of album hits and songs, but were arguably just as known for their offstage antics, celebrity marriages, and violent disagreements. The band formed in Manchester, Northwest England in 1999 and got a recording contract on the strength of a single gig in Glasgow, Scotland 2 years later, where they were third on the bill. The band's 1994 debut album, Definitely Maybe, is still considered one of the great British guitar records, catapulting them into stardom and making them figureheads of a resurgence of guitar music that the UK press called Britpop. The follow-up album, What's the Story? Morning Glory, cemented their status with songs such as Wonderall, Don't Look Back in Anger, which led to success in extensive touring across Europe and North America. Both Gallaghers have gone on to build successful solo careers after Oasis. Liam Gallagher recently played a string of arena shows to celebrate the 30th anniversary of Definitely Maybe, while Noel has played with his band High Flying Birds since 2010 and released 4 albums. While the Gallaghers routinely play old Oasis songs at shows, for many fans, it didn't compare to the magic of 2 brothers appearing together. The Gallaghers have not performed together since a backstage fight at a music festival in Paris in 2009. A rapprochement between them has seemed often unlikely, with both men trading insults and barbs on social media and in interviews. But in the past few weeks, there has been a definite warming of relations. Noel paid his younger brother some compliments in an interview last week, praising his raspy vocals. "It's the delivery or some tone of his voice and the attitude," he said. He compared Liam's voice to 10 shots of tequila on a Friday night, whereas his voice was more like half a Guinness on a Tuesday. The band's reformation may have been prompted by other successful reunions of their 90s peers. Blur, Oasis' rival in the UK chart battle in 1995, reformed to play two dates last year at Wembley Station or Stadium, sorry. The first Blur date sold out all 90,000 tickets in minutes. The Stone Roses, another Manchester band and long-standing inspiration to the Gallaghers, reformed it for a series of gigs in 2012 after a gap of 16 years. Income from recorded music has diminished since the advent of streaming service, but live music is booming. According to one industry estimate, the Oasis reunion could make 40 million pounds or 528 million freedom bucks. Taylor Swift's Era Tour has made well over $1 billion in revenue and has such an effect on national economies that it was thought to have boosted hotel sales across the US and had inflationary reaction in Sweden. Taylor Swift bringing inflation to Sweden. Who'da thunk it? In Be on the Lookout, former MLB pitcher Greg Swindle's daughter, 29, has been reported missing. The daughter of former MLB All-Star Greg Swindle has been reported missing. Brenna Swindle, 29, was last seen Thursday night at Poodle's Hilltop Roadhouse Bar in Spicewood, Texas, with her ex-boyfriend Morgan Gidtree, according to a news release from the city of Austin. The two have not been seen since, and their phones have been off since Friday. That would be terrifying as a parent. Quote, our daughter, Brenna Swindle, has not been seen or heard from in Austin since late Thursday afternoon. Her phone is off and she has not been in contact with family, friends, or most importantly, her children. Sarah Swindle, Greg's wife, posted on Facebook on Sunday. Her ex-boyfriend in the photo has a warrant and is violent, so please, if you have seen or heard from either of them, let us know. Brenna, a mother of three who is said to be 5'4", drives a white Kia Carnival that GPS showed was in Colorado as of Friday. Quote, again, her boyfriend is in trouble with the law from when he assaulted her last month, and we don't know if she went with him willingly, was talked into running away with him, or what. I feel that she would never abandon her three children or just take off without explanation, Sarah wrote. So until we can prove otherwise, we feel she's in danger. Thank you, everyone. And that would be terrifying. Some of us, we get these gut feelings, and I think moms, you can get these really very powerful gut feelings when something is not right with your kiddos. And it it is helpless when you have that feeling and there is nothing you can do to help. So I absolutely hope that this family gets answers, um, and, we'll be able to find her and get her back to our kids. Greg Swindell, 59, played 17 years in MLB and won a World Series in 2001 with the Diamondbacks. The left-hander who played at Texas in college and spent the first 6 years of his career with Cleveland was an all-star in 1989. He spent 1 year with the Reds and 3 with the Astros before a brief return to Cleveland and a short stint with the Twins and Red Sox. Swindle, who began his career as a starter and spent the second half of his career as a reliever, joined the Diamondbacks in 1999 and spent his last 4 seasons with them. So absolutely hope that they can get some answers, because I can only imagine the terror that is going on in that grandma's mind too. Not only is she having to worry about her child, but also keep a brave face for those grandchildren who are missing their mom. And it's incredibly difficult to try to deal with your own feelings and still maintain that strong facade, because kiddos, people are counting on you. You can't, let go. You have to be strong for them, and that's an incredibly difficult place to be in. because you want nothing more than to not be brave, but that's not an option that's afforded to you at that moment, and it will come back. You will those emotions will circle right back on around, uh, to get you when you are at a place where you can deal with them fully, but absolutely such a hard thing to have to deal with, and I hope they can get some answers. Well, he's back and he's pleading guilty to desertion. Travis King, a U.S. Army private who ran into North Korea to plead guilty to desertion. Well, I mean, if that's all you're getting charged with, dude, you done ran into flippin' North Korea. Travis King, the U.S. Army private who ran into North Korea last year, will plead guilty to desertion as part of his plea deal, his lawyer said on Monday. King will plead guilty to 5 of the 14 offenses with which he was originally charged, attorney Franklin Rosenblatt said in a statement. He will plead guilty to 1 count of desertion, 1 count of assault of a non-commissioned officer, 3 counts of disobeying a lawful order, Rosenblatt said. CNN first reported the news of the guilty plea. This The remaining 9 offenses under the Uniformed Code of Military Justice, part of the original case against King, will be withdrawn and dismissed, Rosenblatt said. In a statement late Monday, Michelle McCaskill, and spokesperson for the Army Office of Special Trial Counsel, confirmed that a deal had been reached, but did not offer details. Private King has agreed to the plea deal. or Agreed to plead guilty. However, further details are not reasonable at this time as the guilty plea is subject to the acceptance by a military judge. The multitude of original charges reflected the allegations of troubles before King ran across the demilitarized zone between U.S. ally South Korea and Communist Korea on July 18, 2023. He was 23 years old at the time. The event followed 48 days of imprisonment by South Korean authorities over allegations that included assault and damaging public property. King's mother, Claudine Gates, said last year she believes something happened to her son during his deployment that affected his mental health and might have led to his behavior in South Korea. A mother knows her son. I believe something happened to mine while he was deployed, she said in October. An Army order for King's return to the U.S. was being executed the day he dashed, but instead of getting on a plane, he ended up in a group tour of the border village of Panmunjom. He left the tour and ran straight into North Korea. North Korea held him until September. Upon his return, King had been undergoing reintegration at Joint Base San Antonio before he was ordered held until trial at Fort Bliss, Texas, one of his lawyers said last year. McCaskill, the Army Office of Special Trial Counsel spokesperson, said King would remain confined at least until a judge hears his agreed upon plea. Upon King's return to the U.S., White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan was put in the rare position of thanking North Korea and China for their help. We thank the government of Sweden for its diplomatic role, serving as the protecting power for the United States, and the DPRK and government of the People's Republic of China for its assistance in facilitating the transit of Private King, Sullivan said in a statement last September. Among offenses that could have been or that would be cut as part of King's plea deal are soliciting child grossness, possession of child gross materials, drinking against orders, and leaving his base in South Korea after curfew. U.S. Army Private Travis King will take responsibility for his conduct and enter a guilty plea, Rosenblatt said in his statement Monday. King is from Racine, Wisconsin, and will enter the plea and face sentencing before a military court at Fort Bliss on September 20th. McCaskill said that if the judge assigned to the hearing rejects the plea deal, King's case would end up litigated in a contested court martial. Otherwise, he will most likely face a sentence pursuant to the terms of the plea deal. So we don't know what those terms are, but hopefully he's going to get some time. I mean, the fact that he was alleged to have child grossness, if can be confirmed, center of the daggone sun, allegedly. And dumb people are gonna dumb no matter if they're at home on Two men were seen destroying ancient rock formations, have been arrested, feds say. Well, good. Who the hell does this? What the hell? Like, I understand that guys come up with some interesting ideas like, lighting farts on fire, uh, noodling, and, well, basically anything bad that can happen on a slip and slide. But those are like, shenanigans that will only hurt yourself or your buddies. This is shenanigans that destroys a national monument or land. Why? Just why? Too dumb to deal with people. Two men are facing prison time for allegedly damaging natural rock formations estimated to be millions of years old. Wyatt Clifford Fain, 37, and Peyton David Guy Cosper, 31, are accused of pushing large chunks of ancient rock formations over the edge of a cliff in an area of the Redstone Dunes Trail, the Justice Department in Nevada announced Friday in a press release. The incident occurred on April 7th. On April 15th, the National Park Service shared an image taken from social media post purportedly showing the two men pushing a large red boulder off a cliff. The entire video, published by the Las Vegas Review Journal, shows the men pushing the stones from the formation as well as clouds of dust emanating from where the boulders presumably landed. Law enforcement park rangers at Lake Mead National Recreation Area are seeking information from the public to help identify suspects involved in vandalism incident at the Redstone Dunes Trail area, the NPS said at the time in its plea for help. In a video posted to social media that was reportedly recorded on the evening of Sunday, April 7th, 2024, two adult males are seen on the cliff. Lake Mead Public Information Officer John Hayes told the Review Journal at the time that the disgusting incident left him sick to his stomach. I can't imagine why anyone would do this, he told the newspaper in April. These sandstone formations take millions of years to form, and a couple of yahoos showed up and destroyed them in a few minutes. The action violated the rules of the park, which prohibit tossing, throwing, or rolling rocks or other items inside caves or caverns into canyons, value mountainsides, or in thermal features, and leave no trace principles to minimize the impact on park lands. A criminal complaint says the two men aiding and abetting one another did injure and commit depredation against property the United States and the Department of the Interior National Park Service, to wit, rock formations on or near Redstone Dunes Trail. Fan and Cosper have been charged with one count each of injury and depredation of government property and one count of aiding and abetting. The accused vandals caused more than $1,000 in damages, the Justice Department said. If convicted, they could face 10 years in prison. They pled not guilty before a federal judge on Friday. A jury trial has been scheduled for October 8th. Federal docket notes that the prosecutors did not request that either defendant be taken into custody, and both Fain and Cosper remain free on personal reconnaissance. The Lake Mead recreational area is located near Las Vegas and features Joshua trees, slot canyons, and night skies illuminated by the Milky Way, the park's website says. The park's rocks are as red as fire, and the mountains are purple majesties. The website also notes that Lake Mead is the country's first and largest natural recreation area and one of the most visited natural parks in the United States. And in our final thing, because our timeline is weird, but you know what? It's kind of nice to know that, Danny Lynn Burke is all about the cosplay. and that she's growing up to be semi-normal because I don't know if any of you remember daggone what in the Walmart rapture is going on. That entire timeline, Anna Nicole Smith in entirety was just really, really odd. And I'm glad that her daughter seems to have a dad that's involved in, her interests. I I don't know her personally, but she seems to have grown up relatively normal, and I think that's all that any of us who watch the Anna Nicole Smith, timeline go, that we could all hope for this little girl who was caught in the middle of a cyclone of cray cray. Anna Nicole Smith's daughter, Danny Lynn Burkhead, is so much like her mom, specifically when it comes to a mutual love of dress up. However, Larry Burkhead showed Danny Lynn's version of dress up, and it's cooler than you might have originally thought. On their joint father daughter account, Larry and Danny Lynn, there was a rare post talking about their latest adventure. The Power Morphicon convention in Pasadena, California. Look, y'all, I only know about Sailor Moon, and I'm reluctant to add any more to that because the amount of lack of self-control I have with Sailor Moon products, I don't need to add another series to it. I would be terribly unable to stop buying all the things. Danny Lin got to meet some of her favorite actors from Japanese live action television. She was excited to eat Masahiro Inui, that plays Decade from Kamen Rider Decade, and she was overcome with joy. She also got to meet Gokia Pink and Gokia Red, Go on the Red, Engine Sentai on Goer. Look, she got to meet all of her people. Just like if I went to my Sailor Moon thing and everyone was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. The caption then read off which characters she had cosplayed as. Danny Lynn has cosplayed as three different Kemen Rider characters at the event. First up was Hinoichi, followed by Ankh, and to finish the convention off, she cosplayed Ankh, possessing E.G. from Kemen Rider 0010th Core Metal Resurrection movie, complete with Ang's greed, bird style hand, and feather infused hair. Look, I have no idea. This is the first stop and pre celebration for Danny Lynn's upcoming birthday celebration. Countdown begins now. The post ends by saying special thanks to Toku Spirits hosting, like I said, what a good day growing up. Are they Power Rangers? I am so confused, you guys. I mean, not that I'm not generally, but this would not be a genre of, anime that I have gone through or live action. Are they Power Rangers? What is going on? Anywho, I mean, absolutely, I am glad that she looks like, and I know that Instagram isn't reality, but it does look like that she has a dad that cares about her enough to maybe go to a convention that he never thought he would go to. And, like I said, all of us are just happy that this, having watched, from start to finish the Anna Nicole Smith, kind of modern American tragedy that was her life story, and, her reality for a lot of it being picked on and, kind of being the butt of the joke. I am glad that her daughter seems like she has one caring person on her side and probably more. So, like I said, awesome. Yay that she gets to go to these places and that her dad supports her, and, keep do something special with your life and embrace your nerdy. And that is my call to all of you. Do something special in your life. And the funny thing is that your special doesn't have to be huge. It's being kind to people. It's, letting your family know that you love them, or your friends if your family are giant buttholes. You know, it's having an impact on the people that are closest to you. And if that's all that we can achieve and keep our nerdy, then I think those are okay goals to have, in my opinion. I will see you guys tonight for Nightly Newsy News, and hopefully I will have new hair. Not to make it about me or anything, but anywho, I hope you all have a lovely day. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and try when you're out to give some compliments. I know it sounds cheesy, but as an introverted person trying to learn how to human again and with peopling, it is one of the easiest ways I have found. So I will see you guys tonight. Bye.